What are the pros and cons of living in Manasquan, New Jersey? That is the topic of today's conversation as we take a deep dive into Manasquan, New Jersey, one of the shore's best towns to live, to vacation, to visit, and just to enjoy. My name is John Natali. I am the owner of a real estate company here in Manasquan, New Jersey, and today we are going to describe and go over the 5 pros and cons of living here in Manasquan. If you have not done so already, go down, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you can get notified every single time we drop a video about living here at the Jersey Shore. If you've seen my content on other platforms and have come over to YouTube, I am appreciative that you have given us a try here on YouTube to really go over more in depth all of these great areas at the Jersey Shore to live in, visit, and just overall enjoy your life with. Let's start with the pros of living in Manasquan. The number one pro of living in Manasquan is so simple to say. It's the beach. The beach is so damn nice here in Manasquan. It's got great sand, great little strip of a boardwalk, kind of just to be able to walk along the beach. You've got a playground towards the north end. You've got the inlet at the south end, and you've got plenty of great stuff happening at the beach. Number 2 pro is low taxes. Especially for the value of the home, the taxes are actually really reasonable in Manasquan. One of the biggest reasons why is because a lot of different shore towns share the use of Manasquan High School. Even though this high school is in town, it's still a regional high school for about 4 or 5 other towns here at the shore, and that helps bring down the tax rate. Again, obviously, what's the biggest driver of property taxes here in Monmouth County? Typically, their school taxes. And so the fact that Manasquan shares Manasquan High School with several other towns brings that tax base down, and also then shares it back with the owners in Manasquan, so their taxes aren't nearly as high. Another big factor of why the taxes aren't that high in Manasquan is property sizes aren't huge. So you're not going to be sitting typically on 5 acres of land in Manasquan. It's a purely beach town, 50 by 100 lots, sometimes smaller, sometimes a little bit bigger, but you're not getting huge property sizes. So while that could be seen as a con, you still have more than enough room. Houses are not on top of each other, but at the same time, they're not huge properties. So that also then brings your property tax amount down as well, because you're really just looking at your assessed value versus your actual land value. Number 3 pro of living in Manasquan, New Jersey, it's got to be the food. Some really great restaurants in Manasquan, from Squan Tavern to La Cochinita de Manasquan to Qua to Blend on Main to Committed Pig. There are just fantastic eateries all throughout the town. You have some great coffee shops like Batch. You have great bakeries like Papa Ganache, Sunburst Pies. There's just a fantastic food throughout the entire town. One of our family's favorite things to do is go to Qua Pizza, which is a Roman style pizza, which if you haven't had it, you have to try it. But to go to Qua, have dinner there, walk across the street, and go to Main Street Scoop. And that place is phenomenal ice cream, great little ice cream shop. And at the same time, it offers outdoor tables, so you're right on Main Street. Great place to people watch. It's one of our favorite things to do as a family. Speaking of some of those great things to do as a family, the number 4 pro is actually almost exactly what I was talking about. It's that classic American downtown. You actually have a downtown right on Main Street in Manasquan. It's got a very Victorian feel to it. Our son, the first time after we went to Disney when he was 2 years old, we came back and he thought Main Street in Manasquan was Main Street and Magic Kingdom. I don't think they're exactly the same. There's no castle at the end by any means, but the vibe is actually kind of similar when you do stand there. So it's really beautiful. Like I said, it's got great places to eat, great places to shop, a lot of local businesses. Again, there's no chains there. It's all local businesses. It's all local families that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into owning a storefront in Manasquan. So you get great service, you get great food, you get great options. Squan Dry Goods. There's so many great stores, and there's toy stores, bookstores, everything you could kind of want out of that classic American downtown. And the crazy thing is it's right here at the Jersey Shore, and that's what so many people love about Manasquan. Number 5 pro is definitely huge for families, and especially those that live in Manasquan all year round. is I love the fact that all the schools are across the street from each other. So your K through 8 and your high school are all literally right in the same area across the street from each other. So what that does is that gives a really down-home feel to the area. There's so many families, especially young families, walking their kids to school all together, standing outside all together. It's just a great feel for a township when the schools are that close together. Now let's talk some cons of living in Manasquan, because there is some of them. Number one, especially if you're close to the beach, could be flooding. Again, it is a beach town, but it also sits at a pretty low point, which is why so many houses, especially after Hurricane Sandy, were built up, because the flooding could be pretty bad. At high tide, you're typically, if you're on Brielle Road, going to have water in the street. Doesn't mean you're going to necessarily have water in your house, but you may be having to go through that just to get to the beach during high tide at certain points of the year. I remember on Brielle Road, I had listed a house before Hurricane Sandy years upon years ago. And before the storm hit, I remember going into the house and the owner would tell me that every single time high tide came in, their dishwasher would start to wobble because of how high the sea level is there. So definitely something to think about when it comes to buying a home in Manasquan, especially if you're very, very close to the beach there, is your proximity to some of those areas that flood. Another con of Manasquan, potentially for you, could be the fact that commuting from Manasquan is pretty lengthy. So if you live there full year round and you do commute to Manhattan 5 days a week, you do have a few options. You could absolutely just take the train straight from Manasquan. It goes up to Long Branch, connects, and then obviously goes up to Penn Station. Now, that's an option, but it's also quite a lengthy train, typically around at least an hour and a half, an hour, 45 minutes. So you're looking probably door-to-door commute of at least 2 hours if you are taking the train. You could also, this is quite popular for people, is drive from Manasquan to typically exit 109 or 116 PNC or 109, the park and ride there on the parkway, and then take the bus in, depending on where you're going in Manhattan, whether it's downtown, midtown, wherever you are going. Definitely an option as well, but you're still looking at a pretty long commute. And that could be a con for people. Most people who live down here now are typically either work from home or going in 1 or 2 days a week. People commuting 5 days a week typically are not moving to Manasquan because the commute is honestly pretty far for what you are getting versus other areas of Monmouth County that you could move to. Maybe don't have the same feel as Manasquan, but still great places to live that make your commute much shorter. And the last con, again, just for some people, could be the fact that there is still a certain population during the summer that is a lot of recent college graduates that are there to enjoy their life being 20-somethings. A lot of people that I know that have bought houses, really nice houses by the beach, say they actually enjoy it. It kind of keeps them young, kind of keeps them feeling fresh. But again, there is that natural, noise factor at times. It's shrunk dramatically versus what it was 10 or 15 years ago. That comes with property values increasing so much. However, it is still a factor. There are still some bungalows left that do rent primarily to recent college graduates in their 20s. It's not a bad thing. Most of those recent college graduates do very well for themselves. And the reality is they're typically the person, maybe even that's you watching this video a few years later, looking to move to Manasquan. It's got a great feel to it, great family culture. Yes, some people like to enjoy themselves, go to Leggett's, Osprey, some of these great places for nightlife when you're in your 20s. But it doesn't overshadow the town. And it's honestly, I think, somewhat of a good factor, but some people do see it as a con, and that's why I mention it as a potential con for living in Manasquan. But if you're looking to move here to Manasquan, there's a link below for a questionnaire. Fill it out. I will get back to you within 24 hours, and we can start discussing your move here to Manasquan, New Jersey, which has a wide variety of price ranges depending on what you are looking for. Several different options between condos, townhouses, single family homes, beach homes, a little further from the water, great all year time or versus a beach home. There's so many great options to live here in Manasquan. And today I just wanted to give you those pros and cons of living here in town.